Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today, as I'm sure you can sort of tell by the title, I don't even know what I'm titling this video. I'm going to be doing a personal Q&A. I've been doing these every month and I've loved them so much for just them being a way for us to get to know each other a little bit more, or you guys get to learn a lot more about me. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Oh, I posted on Instagram, which if you want, you can follow me on Instagram right here. And that is usually where I always say to submit questions. Now I think every once in a while I'll do something here on YouTube because there were a lot of you guys that were excited about me doing that too, so maybe I'll alternate it every other month. Also, guys, look at these press-on nails. I pressed these on myself and I just like filed them to my shape a little bit more, and it's my second time doing it. I have to say I'm really about this life. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, first question comes from Jesus from Nazareth, and he said, where do you get your room decorating inspiration from? My girlfriend is obsessed with it. That's a really good question. I don't have like a specific person that I go to for inspiration. I mostly just go on Pinterest and I search like boho, industrial, minimal interior decoration, and through that it just leads me to all of these different styles of interior decorating. But I will say I like to be relatively minimal, but I also do like to have things that make the home feel really cozy. I like to add plants because it automatically makes things very aesthetic, especially when you have like really muted tones, which I have a lot of white and like creamy colors, and then black as like the detail for like a door handle or something like that. But Pinterest, I feel like, is the #1 spot to go to get a ton of inspiration. Tell your girlfriend she's got good taste. Mark A. Serta said, have you ever questioned your sexuality? Yes, I have. I've been very open about this, but we'll just be open about it again. So yeah, I classify myself as bisexual or bi-curious. I am open to dating a girl. I've only ever been with men. I have, you know, hooked up with girls, just like kissed them, stuff like that, but I've never actually gone and done more. So that's why I kind of feel more comfortable saying bi-curious. But I'm also just like, I don't know, I just love everyone. Everyone is beautiful. I'm kind of like I'm a very open person, if that makes any sense. So yeah. John Bueno said, do you still resell clothes, and do you have any advice on how to start getting sales with no following? I have taken a pause on reselling clothes right now because I am working on my boutique. I still have some stuff that I need to list, and every once in a while I'll get a sale because I literally haven't listed in like a month, but I still do it occasionally. I'm just trying to focus more on investing my time and my money into my online boutique that's coming soon. I guess when it comes to getting sales with no following, I would say resharing. If you're on Poshmark, resharing other people's posts, try to be a part of the clothing events that Poshmark runs, resharing your posts consistently, and really just trying to make sure that the brands that you're selling are brands that are popular. I feel like that's the biggest way. I had a friend that resold a bunch of old gym clothes that I had. I just let her take them all. She had 0 following and they all sold out within a week. So it's really just based off of like popularity and volume, and just be really good with customer service. Ship on time, make sure that they're in good, you know, condition, and everything should be fine. Bartholomew Marciano said, do you think you are where you want to be in life? It's a very good question. No, if I'm being perfectly honest, I do not feel like I am where I want to be in life, but I also feel like I'll probably never hit that peak, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that I'm constantly trying to improve and reach like a better version of myself. I feel like recently I have been a little bit lazy. I've been a little bit unmotivated, and obviously with COVID, like there's been a ton of hits that a lot of influencers have been taking, so even more so I have that feeling of like not really being totally content and not totally comfortable. But I'm working actively to correct those things and get to a place where I am really happy with where I am, and just constantly striving to be better, because I feel like that should always be the goal. You should never feel completely content where you are, because that's when you get lazy and that's when you get comfortable, and that's when things can actually start to crumble, because your girl has been there before. Amber Kemplin _5, do you regret sharing so much of your personal life on YouTube? This is a yes and a no. I say yes because obviously the more that you open yourself up and you share personal things about your life, the more that you are going to receive judgment, and people are going to feel like they have a right to basically tell you if you're doing things right or wrong in your life, which you don't. And that can be a really stressful thing to deal with, is that additional judgment and critique that you're already going through on your own. But then there are other parts of me that are like, well, no, I'm not, because I feel like I also in turn get so much incredible advice, so much guidance. I also feel like like in turn I end up helping people by sharing and being open about my experiences. So it's kind of like a win-lose situation, you know what I mean? Like there's so many great benefits about being so open about my life, but there's a lot of things as well that are downfalls and that personally affect me from being so open. But I do feel that the positivity outweighs the negativity, in my case at least. Cuban Sandwich said, when is the new merch coming out? I need it. So I have been working on merch for like 2 months now, just trying to perfect the design and make sure that I like the way that the sizing is and the coloring and all of that. So it's finally done. I received my samples. I posted a little sneak peek on Instagram, which I will put right here on the screen for you guys. And I'm really excited about it because it is all about mental health. The whole idea behind it is just being better than yesterday and choosing to be better, because as somebody who constantly struggles with my mental health, I wanted to create something that really resonated with me and I know would really resonate with my audience. So yes, that will be launching ideally next week. They're really just waiting for me to get a couple of more promo pictures. So I think Mariana's gonna be helping me take some pictures this Friday. Once I have those and I give them to them, then it's going to be up and ready to be sold. And I'm really excited about it because this is like the first time that I had like a company that I worked with that designed for me with my inspiration. So yeah, it really means something to me and I hope that you guys love it as much as I do. ValleyKing_fit said, thoughts on the popularity of OnlyFans and have you ever considered it? So I think OnlyFans popping off has been really great. I have a lot of personal relationships with my following. We DM a lot, we talk on Twitter, and there's been so many girls that will just come to me and kind of share their experiences. We just like talk casually. And let me tell you, some of these girls are making a killing with no following, starting from scratch, and they're crushing it and they're happy with it. They don't feel like they're going beyond what their comfort level would be. Maybe this isn't something that they would have considered had they not been out of work due to COVID, things like that. But at the end of the day, I feel that if you're comfortable with what you're doing and you feel like you're not doing something that is kind of messing with your mental health, then by all means, there is money to be made on that freaking platform. It is insane. Have I considered OnlyFans? I have. I think about it like every day. If I were to ever do something like that, I wouldn't do like nude photos. It would just be me in like bikinis and lingerie. And I think the reason I'm always like, I mean, is it really that bad of an idea? Is because I used to post really provocative photos on my Instagram and I'm like, I mean, I would just post that, but I would put it on OnlyFans. But then I'm like, I don't want to deal with the guys who are like, well, I'm unsubbing if you're not gonna get naked, because that's just not something that I want to do. There's boundaries, and that's where I think OnlyFans can be a little costly to your mental health. Is that's something you have to be prepared for, is that you really are just kind of like an object for these people to whatever, if it's a fetish, if it's, you know, the way that they personally gratify themselves at the end of each day. That's one of the biggest things, and that's one of the things that one of my friends shared with me when she was doing like webcam stuff, is just that aspect of it. So I don't think I'll actually do it, but it is something that has crossed my mind. It is something that has been discussed. And let me tell you, if you go on OnlyFans, you can put in like the amount of followers that you have and how much you would charge per month. So when I put in 490,000 followers on Instagram and, you know, charging $15 a month, I kid you not, the range says that I can make anywhere from $40,000 to $290,000 a month. A month, which is absurd. And I have like 60% male following on Instagram, so I know it would be successful. And I get asked about it all the time, but I just don't think I'm mentally prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? But props to those of you that are and that are making a killing. Go off, sis or man, do your thing. Props. Vivi Queens 20 said, are you still in school? So I haven't addressed this yet on YouTube, because back to that question of like the pros and cons of like basically sharing your life, if I regret it or not. Sometimes I overshare things and it gets me into trouble with you guys, you know, and then I have to come back and be like, so it turns out I'm not doing that anymore. No, I'm not. I'm not closing off the idea to university. I would absolutely love to go back at some point, but I think that the way that I went about it after 8 years of not being in school, hopping into a math class, which was already the subject that I struggled with the absolute most in high school, and doing it in an accelerated program such as an 8-week program in summer classes, was not the right approach for me. I run 3 YouTube channels. I have a Twitch channel, I have a Patreon, I have an Instagram. At the time I was still having Built Fierce and I was starting an online boutique, and I'm not saying that it's impossible. Oh my gosh, I'm not saying that. I know there are people who are mothers and they're full-time workers and all of that. Don't think that they have a lot of free time or that they have any free time, and I'm not in a position where I need to be working that intensely. I'd rather put everything I can into the businesses that I have right now and then try school again, maybe one class in in the fall or in the winter, or sorry, not in the winter, in the spring. I don't think summer or winter classes is gonna be a thing for me. And I just look back and I'm like, why didn't you just take English? Why did you have to go a step further and go into a math class where you don't even remember anything from? Like, why do that? I know if I had done English, I would have knocked it out. Essays, reading, all of that, no problem for me. Math? Absolutely not. I was already behind because I had to do the review chapters. The teacher didn't account for the review chapters, but I was like, there's no way I'm gonna understand chapter 1 if I don't go through these review chapters. I kid you not, I was waking up doing homework for like 12 hours, and I remember my friends who were in college were like, oh, it shouldn't be taking you that long. And I'm like, well, that's because I'm doing review, and I failed my test, and then I took another test and I got a D on it, and then I realized that I should have actually gotten a C on it, but I didn't because some of the way that I input the problems was wrong because it's on a computer, and the way that like fractions are entered and stuff, it could just be messed up. And at the end of the day, no, I'm not. And yes, you guys can yell at me and tell me that I am a failure and that I never finish the things that I'm going to finish. But as a girl that runs 3 YouTube channels constantly around the clock, and a Patreon page, and someone who is starting an online boutique, like, I'm doing more than enough, and I really don't need the judgment. I really don't. So just be nice. Just be nice. And I commend those of you that are college students because that stuff is intense. Like, I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how y'all do it. I guess being a full-time student is a little bit different, and you have like a lot more flexibility because your life is literally just school, but doing all the extra stuff, woo, not for me. Jazmine said, what happened with your boyfriend? This is a subject, again, that is, you know, has been a big learning lesson about just sharing things too early. So we did break up. I'm not gonna make a whole video about it. I'll probably just put it in the title so that people don't ask later along the way. You guys can just refer to this. We did break up. We are not on bad terms. We're a part of the same friend group. Like, there's no animosity or hate towards each other. I was the one that did it. I basically just realized that I am in a place right now where I really need to work on myself. We were both great. We both had our problems, but there were things that were coming up for me that I just felt didn't work for me. You know, I'm sure some of it had to do with me not being completely happy, but I think a lot of it also is just that I have a lot of inner demons that I have suppressed for a really long time, and it makes it really hard for me to like fully commit, fully open myself up, all of those things, and it just has left me with a guard up. And so I just feel like I'm in a place where I wish him literally nothing but the best. He will always mean so much to me, and I'm so happy that I got to have the time with him that I did, but I am just in a place where I gotta do me. I gotta focus on me. The next time I get into a relationship with someone, I don't think I'm gonna share it for a while, because now I see kind of like why Omar and I took the approach that we did. I think we waited like a year before we were public, and it's better that way because like I feel like no one should have to be ashamed about sharing their relationship. You should be able to share those things, and you would if you didn't have a following on social media. But when you do, there is the pressure of people either getting super bonded to them or, you know, getting bonded to the relationship as a whole, and then feeling the need to get closure as well because we were so open about the relationship. Not we, but just like any social media influencer, content creator, and that can get a little bit rough because sometimes we ourselves are the ones who actually were in the relationship are not ready to talk about those things, or maybe don't ever want to talk about those things. So I hope that you guys can respect it. No ill will towards him, no ill will towards me. This was literally just a decision that I made for myself, and I'm content with my decision. I am proud of my decision, and I have nothing but love for him, and I just hope that you guys can respect that and allow us both to move forward with our lives. Chartlige_M said, because you are such a boss woman and do so much, what is your main source of income? So my main source of income definitely comes from YouTube, but I would say like collectively it's YouTube ad revenue and brand deals. When I was sponsored by companies, that was definitely a huge part of my income, but now it's brand deals merged in with AdSense, absolutely. And there are some other side hustles on the way that definitely help like build up my revenue, but that's the coin, sis. That's where the money comes in from. For some reason, I've seen like 5 questions now about foot fetishes. They're just basically saying, what do you think of men that have foot fetishes, or do you like to get a foot fetish, or just foot fetish, question mark. I don't like feet. I literally hate them. I think feet are literally the most disgusting things in the world. I don't know why. I'm disgusted by my own feet. I think they're gross. I don't get it. If you're into foot fetishes, by all means, do you. I am not giving you any form of hate. Like, if that's what you like, go for it. If you put a foot near me, I will gag. I just don't like them. I hate them. I really hate them. Susanna Bejornor said, Bejorn, I don't know if I'm saying that right. She said, what is one famous YouTuber you have tea with and why? YouTuber. I feel like I have tea with a lot of YouTubers, whether it's like good or bad. I have more tea with like celebrities in LA, entertainers in LA, that I would, yeah, like I have more tea with that. I don't really interact with YouTubers very much, so there's not like a lot of room for me to have tea with YouTubers. I guess a few, like there are things that I'm like, oh, you guys would probably find that interesting to hear, but there are no big YouTubers off the top of my head that I could think of that I have like tremendous tea that I would spill, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. Gabriella_X11 said, what happened to the gym program you and Omar had? Built Fierce is officially out of business. It is very sad. We are closing the doors and basically saying sayonara. It was such a good time. Omar and I came to this decision actually a couple of months ago, and we're just kind of trying to figure out the right time to do it, the right way to do it, and we really wanted to make sure that our girls felt like they weren't just getting kind of left in the dust, so we made sure to do, you know, a long post, talk with everyone, and we also set them up to receive programs from Kaizen so that they could have a program through the end of the year. So basically, I don't want to get into too much detail, but COVID really kind of messed things up. Built Fierce was never meant to be a program for at home. Not that at home programs are not incredible and you can achieve so much there, but really our passion was about getting women into the gym, making them stronger, getting them under a barbell, getting them to bench press, etc. So when COVID happened, we took a huge hit. I mean, Built Fierce went off the ground. We had over 1,000 members. I mean, it was such an exciting time. I have personally lost a lot of my passion for fitness, as I'm sure you guys can tell throughout my content. And on top of that, COVID hitting was just a little bit unnerving for us. And we weren't necessarily like running at a negative. We just were barely making a profit for the amount of time and work that we were putting in. And we were losing members constantly. We weren't doing promotion because I think we just both kind of knew. We love it. It will always be like this thing that we created together, and I feel like was just so amazing, but we had to do what we had to do. There are so many other amazing girls that I would recommend though if you guys are interested in getting into like some sort of monthly membership. Alive by Whitney Simmons, my girl, is great. And then Jazzy also just released her own thing, and it's called Project Soul. So if you guys are interested in kind of getting into that sort of thing by two girls who just live and breathe and are the heartbeat of fitness, please check them out. I'm so proud of what they're doing. They're crushing it. And if anyone deserves that success and new subscribers and new people coming in, it is those two. I'm sure there are other people, but those are the two that I would recommend off the top of my head. Why are there so many foot fetish questions? Oh my god. Micey Chang said, what is one thing that you learned from your last relationship? I would say one thing that I actually really learned is the ability to recognize my feelings versus my anxiety. I'm somebody that questions everything, and there was a big part of me that was like, is this really what you feel? Like, is this really what you think you need? Or are you just anxious? Is it your OCD coming up? Is it making you overthink things? And I feel like I just kept asking the universe and God and my mom for guidance and clarity because I didn't want to make the right decision. But then one day I just woke up and I was like, no, this is what you need to do, and you need to do it for yourself. And so I really just learned to trust myself and listen to the things that I'm feeling and try not to undermine them, because I have a tendency to do that. And I'm like, no, it's nothing, or you're overthinking it. And so I feel like that is one thing I really, really learned. And another thing on a positive side for him is that I learned what it's like to have a really thoughtful partner, someone who, you know, unflinchingly makes the bed in the morning, helps take out the dogs, helps put the groceries away. You guys are gonna be like, damn, that's like what you'd like, you didn't see that in people. But I dated a lot of really not good guys, and I feel like I didn't know what it was like to have someone who properly just cared for you and did little acts of services just to show that they cared. So I feel like those are two things. One that I learned within myself, and then one thing that I learned from him. And I'm starting to get really bad allergies, so just bear with me. All right, this is gonna be my last question because my allergies are getting freaking bad. But Michaela said, how often do you get cosmetic surgery? So I've never actually gotten surgery done. I've only ever had fillers. I had my lips done once, and they've like, there's no filler left. This is now just my natural lips. It's been like 2 years since I did it, and I think filler only lasts like a year, maybe a year and a half. Maybe it's even been 2.5 years since I did it. So I did that once. I am considering doing it again, but I'm still kind of like, I don't know, because I like my lips the way they are. I've had my under eye filler done twice now, and I think it might be getting time for me to do just like a little touch up. It lasts a long time. It lasts like a year and a half as well. I needed to get a touch up the second time because there was just some areas that needed a little extra TLC. And then I also had my chin filled, and it's totally gone now. I have gone back to not really having much of a chin, and I've had Botox on my forehead and on my smile lines. So I know it sounds like I had a lot done to my face, but if you look at pictures from me before, I'm still the same. The main difference is that I don't have forehead wrinkles. I don't get Botox here anymore because this was frozen, and I would try to like flex my eyebrows and it would just be like Like that was the most I could do. Now I can go like this, and I think that that's a natural thing to do. But the biggest thing where you can really see the difference on my face is the under eye filler, because I just genetically, my family has really deep eye bags and deep eye circles, and I just hated that I would put on concealer and it still felt like I had eye bags. And I was like, man, what the heck is going on here? So those have been the things that I've done to my face. But as of recently, I've just had my TMJ Botox, which isn't even cosmetic. That's actually just to help with my jaw problems. My Botox on my forehead and my Botox on my eyes. So maybe I go like once a year, I would say. Yeah. All right, guys, that is gonna be it for this Q&A. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit more about me. I feel like this video was filled with like lots of tea, whether it was like regarding my breakup, Built Fierce, school, so many different things I feel like came up. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, do me a favor, throw this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I appreciate you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Besitos. Bye.